And next we have the project End Poverty Now, addressing goals number 1 and 3.
We are group 1 for the SDGs in Action program, and our project is called End Poverty Now, Equal Opportunities, Equal Outcomes, Ending Poverty and Stigma. Poverty on a global scale has grown at an alarming rate during recent years. This project aims to destigmatize poverty within the context of Toronto through knowledge sharing and promotion of resources. This pamphlet aims to raise awareness about poverty in Toronto with the intention of taking a proactive approach to end poverty stigmatization. We must ensure that the next generation is well informed. By utilizing our educational and professional experiences in varying fields, we have created a well-informed and comprehensive pamphlet that explains the complex discourse of poverty in a way that is palatable to a wide demographic, including children, adults, and seniors. In this informative tool, we touch on aspects of poverty, such as the history of poverty in Toronto today, the racialization and systemization of poverty, poverty and intersectionality, and the next steps to destigmatizing poverty. We conclude by providing resources and tools to financial education, poverty reduction education, and financial aid.
Toronto's long history of economic boom and bust has made poverty a historical and persistent issue widespread amongst working-class immigrants and refugees. Poverty in Toronto has increased exponentially and has continuously resulted in negative health outcomes. It takes place when the resources needed to supply basic needs are inadequate and are scarce. But to properly understand poverty within the context of Toronto, we must understand that it is a process and not a state. As a horizontal inequality, it refers to inequalities between socially defined groups that often cut across income groups. The best way to measure poverty is to use an intersectional approach that includes 2 important factors that are often overlooked: immigration and age. With over 3 million people, Toronto is one of the most diverse cities in the world due to its large immigrant population that includes a significant number of refugees and children of refugees. Coming to Canada as a refugee is often a more difficult avenue of immigration, and many come with little to nothing, mostly relying on community help and government assistance. Ultimately, this puts most refugees below the poverty line. An aspect of intersectionality within the context of poverty, and often disregarded, is the ageism that takes place as Canada continues to have a growing seniors population. Even those who did it all right, maxed out their RRSP account year after year, paid off their mortgage, and raised financially independent children, are often struggling to keep up with the rising cost of living.
The pamphlet aims to raise awareness about the issue of poverty in Toronto, highlighting its history, causes, stigma, consequences, and possible solutions and recommendations. Some of the recommendations for destigmatizing poverty highlighted in the pamphlet include acknowledging the issue. Poverty is a very complex and multifaceted issue that has substantial effects on a significant portion of the population in Toronto. As a society, we need to recognize that poverty is not an individual's lack of motivation or failures, but a systemic issue that arises from various factors, including discrimination, socioeconomic disparities, and inadequate social policies. Second, encouraging open conversations. Third, amplify the voices of those marginalized. Fourth, focus, develop, and advance policy solutions. And finally, support local and community leaders and initiatives. Destigmatizing poverty in Toronto requires a multifaceted approach that involves extensive policy solutions, community and partner engagement, as well as a shift in cultural narratives. By working together, we can create a more just and equitable society for all Torontonians.
Through this research, we were able to better comprehend Toronto's existing structural and poverty-related gap. By taking the time to destigmatize poverty, we better understood the significance of elevating the voices of those who are marginalized and promoting a more inclusive approach. The creation of the pamphlet was also an important part of the process, and with the research part, it made us a more efficient and stronger team.